Hello everyone, and welcome to the newest installment of my series covering 90 Day Fiance's newest mega creep, Loren. In previous videos covering episodes 1 through 5, we've talked about Loren's lying, cheating, gaslighting, gonorrhea, delusions about Southeast Asia, and of course, his strange, chaser-like preference for pre-op trans women.
With or without a penis, preferably penis.
And in today's video, covering episodes 6 through 8, we'll see a lot more emotional manipulation, more blaming Faith for his cheating, and of course, a lot more lying. But we even see Loren judging Faith's identity as a woman by saying her male genitalia isn't feminine enough for him to be attracted to.
Faith's penis hasn't transitioned into a female penis, but if she's willing to take hormones, then we can fix that really quick.
I don't know how this guy keeps getting worse, but for now, let's get into it. In episode 6, we catch up with Loren after he got back from the STD clinic, where he confirms that he does indeed have gonorrhea, which, despite possibly being a serious infection and is still an STD, Loren is not worried about.
You have gonorrhea, you know, it's treatable, so 7 straight days of fun pills.
And while we're on the topic of venereal diseases, Loren demonstrates just how bad our sex education can be in this country by saying that he thought unprotected oral sex was a completely safe thing to do.
I never thought that getting a from my friend was gonna give me gonorrhea. I really did not expect that to happen.
But then seems to imply that he knows it could be a risky thing to do, but because the person he was interacting with gets tested frequently, then he must be fine.
I feel like I wasn't doing anything unsafe because she gets tested regularly and she seemed okay. But here I am with an STD and a leaky penis.
Ugh, do you have to say it like that? Like no shame at all that you got leak? Ugh. But although he's not worried about this whole STD and cheating thing, Faith still is, and has not spoken to or returned any text messages from Loren since Loren revealed the truth to her.
She said she wanted space, and I haven't seen her or spoken to her since yesterday.
Loren, disheartened and feeling alone without Faith, gets back to his hotel room and calls his old friend Esther, whom we met in the beginning of the season.
Hey, Esther. Hello.
The friend naturally asks Loren how his trip in the Philippines is going, and Loren has to tell her that things were going well, but they're kinda not talking anymore because Loren got gonorrhea.
Faith planned this lovely day out, and then I decided it was a great moment to tell Faith I have gonorrhea.
The friend hears that and just laughs at how ridiculous the situation is. Like, you went all the way over there on all these hopes and you have gonorrhea, dude? Like, really? Yeah, that would kind of put a damper on things. Loren tells the friend how he found out that he had gonorrhea, and then we hear Loren bring up the whole I was cheating on her thing, and again, tries to completely twist the story.
And it turns out when I told her I'm sleeping with people, she was under the impression that only meant sleeping. I guess that didn't translate properly.
No, not this again, Loren. We've seen many times already that Loren has this pattern of minimizing his wrongdoings and reframing the story to make it seem more like a miscommunication and less like he's deliberately lying and withholding the truth. Because I remember back in the first episode, Loren said that he had been telling Faith that he's been staying at other people's places because he was couch surfing.
Like I let her know that I stay over other people's houses, but I'm not sure that she understands.
Then there are various scenes where he suggests that just because he's hanging out with a girl at her place, then that should imply sex.
You have to know. You had to have known that I'm having sex the whole time.
And now he says that I was sleeping with other people, but it's all her fault that she interpreted that literally. Well, I've been saying I've been sleeping with all these girls. I don't know how she could have thought. No, that is not how you presented it. He even said in the first episode that he's been waiting to have the polygamy discussion with Faith until he gets to the Philippines.
Don't you think she's thinking it's a monogamous relationship?
You know, that's a conversation I definitely want to have in person.
So whatever BS excuse he's trying today, he's already admitted that they haven't talked about the poly thing. So no, Loren, you can't pretend to your friend now that you were being super clear and the only problem was the language barrier. That still would have been Loren's fault for not being direct and clear, but it wasn't just the language barrier. The friend then asks Loren a pretty good question.
If Faith wants to be exclusive and that's a deal breaker, are you going to be okay just being exclusive with her?
If you have to choose between being monogamous with Faith or being non-monogamous without Faith, which one would you choose? You might recall in the beginning of the season that Loren actually answered this already.
I mean, I'm gonna have to accept it or try and push her into not.
And although in this scene, he says that he now understands how important monogamy is for Faith and says that if he had to choose, he would choose monogamy with Faith.
I can tell that Faith sees monogamy non-monogamy is a very serious thing, and I don't want to lose her.
But although he says that, it sounds like he doesn't really respect that position. Because, according to Loren,
If you love each other enough and your relationship is strong, then sleeping around shouldn't be an issue for each other.
now, 2 points with that. The first is that Loren is presenting his preference as some kind of moral issue. He's presenting his opinion here as the de facto correct opinion to have, and implies that if you don't share his correct opinion, then it's just because you don't love and trust your partner enough.
If you love each other enough and your relationship is strong, then sleeping around shouldn't be an issue for each other.
No, how about I just don't like that? Again, that's fine if that's your personal preference, but when you don't present it as just a preference and instead you moralize it as some ideal to pursue, then one side effect of that is you get a lot of people who are monogamous thinking that they are ethically and morally inferior, or that they don't love and trust their partner enough to be okay with something that they're actually not okay with. My point is, if you're naturally a polygamous person, then okay, good for you. And if you feel like the recent acceptance of that kind of relationship style makes you feel more comfortable being yourself and living the life that works best for you, then great. But if you view your personal preference as a moral and societal ideal that everyone should strive for, and you continuously try convincing your monogamous partners that they need to violate their own boundaries and values to live a life they don't want to live, then
You're a piece of shit. Yep.
didn't I say I have 2 points? Oh yeah, the second point is, if Loren really feels this way about monogamy and you just don't love and trust your partner enough, I highly doubt that this change from Loren is really coming from within. I would be very surprised if maybe they get back together and have a better relationship for a couple years. Like, that would ever happen, but humor me in my imagination. That he wouldn't eventually bring up the conversation again and try to push for a non-monogamous relationship.
If I don't want to lose Faith, I have to give up the idea of non-monogamy. The only thing I care about now is getting back to Faith, and I'll do anything to make sure that I don't lose her.
Yeah, does he accept monogamy because he's actually okay with it? Or because he sees it as a way to get back with Faith in the short term? We then get a scene where Faith meets up with some of her friends. They ask what's going on, she's crying, she tells them about the STD and how they're not together anymore. Faith is upset and says she realizes she's made the wrong decision, trusting Loren all this time.
This is exactly what I was worried about, that I would end up heartbroken. And now, Loren has broken my heart.
And while the friends are shocked, this dude chimes in and gives her the whole, he must really care about you if he told you the truth spiel.
So baka naman talagang mahal ka niya. Kasi hindi naman niya, kung di ka naman niya mahal sa'yo na meron siyang...
And convinces Faith to at least talk to Loren and hear him out. Which, I don't know how many people in real life would do that and not just immediately kick Loren's ass to the curb, but that would make for pretty boring TV if she did, so. On to the next episode. After not talking for some time, Faith meets up with Loren in his room to talk things out.
And after many long hours of waiting, she finally texted back, okay.
They go outside to get some air and talk about things. Loren tells Faith that he's got his medicine now and should be clear up in a week. When then, Loren finally gets to apologizing. Sort of.
We're in this situation because I messed up.
And that's good. He recognizes that this was all his fault and... Wait, he keeps going.
We're in this situation because I messed up. But I felt like I was communicating that I was sleeping with people, but clearly you didn't understand that.
It'd be one thing if he said, I'm sorry, I thought I was communicating the whole time, but looking back now, I see that I really wasn't. I should have been more clear and direct and made sure that you understood what we were talking about. Like, that's all on me and I'm sorry. That could be understandable, but doesn't sound like that, does it? Sounds a lot more like he's saying, I'm sorry, but I didn't really do anything wrong.
But I felt like I was communicating that I was sleeping with people.
I mean, just look at his facial expression with this. To me, he feels stern and defensive.
But clearly you didn't understand that.
It's like when you have a miscommunication with someone, you could either have the neutral apology, where you say, I'm sorry, there was a misunderstanding. You could, in my opinion, take the high road apology and say, sorry, I wasn't more clear, where you demonstrate that you're taking some accountability. Or you can take the low road apology and say, I'm sorry, you misunderstood me, where you acknowledge that something went wrong, but place all of the responsibility on the other person. And of course, that's what Loren goes with.
I felt like I was communicating that I was sleeping with people, but clearly you didn't understand that.
Faith then asks Loren more details about the cheating.
Do you mean every time you text me, you're having sex with them?
To which Loren responds with this.
Not every house, but maybe like once a week?
So once a week in every week?
Yes.
Which, what? If Loren and Faith have been together for about 5 months, then that'd make 20 different occasions on average that Loren is getting action. How is a guy like Loren? You know what? Never mind. But I guess the bigger thing is that would be like 20-ish times that he's lying by omission to Faith. You would think that even if you thought you were being completely clear with this breadcrumb trail of information about the cheating, surely you'd think after the 3rd or 4th time that, oh man, I should really make sure she knows. You would think any kind of conscience would catch up to him and tell, she needs to know by now. But no, he's happy to keep doing his thing because he just doesn't believe in her values. Loren reiterates to Faith that he loves her and wants to be in a relationship with her.
I'm not gonna sleep with anybody else. I'm not gonna look at anybody else. I'm sorry I cheated on you.
Bro, what is that accent?
I'm not gonna look at anybody else. I'm sorry I cheated on you.
Faith says she's hurt. Loren says, I know.
I'm very, very hurt.
I know.
She says she can't do this again. Loren says, well, I don't plan on cheating again. Then Faith mentions that apparently in the next few days, they had been planning a trip to go back to Faith's hometown to meet her family. But now, with recent developments, Faith feels pretty uncomfortable bringing Loren to the family and introducing him as her boyfriend. Faith then shares her hesitation with Loren,
How I can, I tell them that you are my boyfriend.
who then says this.
So you don't want to introduce his boyfriend?
This accent, it's only getting worse.
So you don't want to introduce his boyfriend?
What are you doing? And yes, as I said in my last video when he did this, that is a thing. You don't have an accent, but then you hang around a bunch of people that do have an accent and you'll naturally start speaking like them. That is a known thing. That doesn't mean that he's a racist. It doesn't mean that, but somehow when I watch this, maybe it's because he goes in and out of it a lot. And at least from the edit, it seems like the only time he goes to that accent is when he's trying to be a little cute and coy with an apology. It's like whenever he's trying to make himself seem small and meek and, oh, so you don't want to introduce, it feels like that's always the time that he uses the accent. I'm no psychologist, but that doesn't sound like the same kind of natural phenomena of naturally adopting someone's accent. That seems a bit more purposeful and manipulative. That's just my opinion.
So you don't want to introduce his boyfriend?
That's not even how Faith talks. But the conversation ends with Faith and Loren agreeing that they're no longer official boyfriend and girlfriend. Loren is now just Faith's friend, and maybe if he's real good, he can earn his way back to being a boyfriend and maybe even a fiance later.
I'm hoping he's still the Loren I have feelings for. Because right now, I feel like I don't know him.
Again, I don't know how many people would take his ass back at this point, but I suppose they were in different countries. Maybe Faith can say that's, okay, this is your one mulligan. Now if you do it again, then you're really done. Maybe that's what she's thinking, but whatever the case, I'm just glad we get more Loren content. Episode 8 starts the next day, the day of their trip back to Faith's hometown, where Loren can finally meet the family.
2 days ago, I told her I had gonorrhea, and that's how she realized I was sleeping with other people.
That's when she realized I was a cheater. No, it wasn't her responsibility. That's when you decided to finally come clean about your cheating. Again, Loren, it's not like she's been dumb this whole time and suddenly realized. No, you have been lying this whole time and finally decided to tell her.
Just a matter of time before I go back into boyfriend zone so that I can find out if me and Faith are really going to be together forever.
They're in the car, headed to her hometown, talking about the beaches. Loren tells Faith that she doesn't have to worry about gonorrhea being spread all over the beach.
I mean, I don't think gonorrhea is going to spread on the beach.
And tries reassuring Faith that his little situation down there is taken care of.
No, it's not leaking anymore.
Oh.
I think the pills is no leaking. It's good to go.
Oh, yeah.
No more sludge.
No more sludge? I thought leaking was a bad term this whole time. You're talking about the sludge that leaks out? Why would you talk about something so casually? I don't know. That's mortifying to me. Why would you sludge? All right, we gotta get over this. They get on an airplane to fly back to the hometown. Faith tells us again in a one-on-one that right now they're just friends, and it's gonna take a lot from Loren to prove that he's worthy of regaining Faith's trust.
He needs to regain my trust before I can consider a future with him.
And I mention that, I think for the same reason that the show mentions that right now, because throughout the rest of this episode, we're gonna see just how Loren tries to go about regaining that trust.
I'm going because I love my beautiful best friend, Faith. Right? For right now.
Cringe. I guess Loren's strategy for escaping the friend zone is the same terrible strategy we see from guys all over the world. hoping that excessive flattery and performative chivalry will magically change their desired's mind. But for real, my heart goes out to all of you in the friend zone. You're better than that, work on yourself, go find someone who appreciates you. Unless you're Loren. Meanwhile, Faith is quite happy to have Loren in the friend zone, because now there's a lot less pressure on her of wondering if he likes me, do I have to dress a certain way? She now feels more freedom. They finally arrive in the city of Bye Bye, a place that is very aptly nicknamed the City of Beauty and Serenity. In this car ride from this city to her hometown, man, this journey has a lot of legs to it. We hear a little bit more about Loren's backstory, as he says that he apparently grew up in the country his whole life and only recently moved to Vegas in the last 9 months. Which was surprising to me. I assumed he had grown up in Vegas. So I went to Google and see if the internet knew where he grew up instead. And that's when I stumbled upon this screenwriter article talking about his divorce from a decade ago, the child support issues, the restraining order that he's had on him. Also, the article reminded me that Loren grew up in the countryside of Washington State, which he already told us. I've known about these things for a while, I just haven't looked into them myself. And it's pretty juicy. Accusations of willful abandonment of the children. They talk about just how broke he was, got the restraining order against the ex-wife. Pretty bad. I'm not going to get into it all now, but if you would like to hear me go into all those details and spill the juicy gossip outside the TLC show, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to do it. But back in the car ride, Loren says he wants to get out of Vegas because Vegas makes you sick, but says he's not worried about getting actually sick anymore because he's done sleeping with people.
You cannot kiss your friend. Oh my god, friend! You're so lonely. You miss girls.
And while I don't really get the joke, it seems like Faith is more comfortable talking and joking around about the cheating and has a sense of humor about it. But right when I thought we, the audience, were about to have a little bit of fun at Loren's expense, Loren then goes and has to ruin it all by talking about his sex life again.
No, I'm usually bottom. Huh? I don't bottom. My penis, I don't use it, like in the bedroom.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's a bottom with other people that have male genitalia. I don't know if he's also saying that when he's with a girl that he's also on the receiving end because the gonorrhea partner was a girl. I don't know. I'm already thinking about this way more than I wanted to. They both joke about how they're going to do it if they're both bottoms. But Loren says that when it comes to sex, I'll do anything.
When it comes to like sex acts, pretty much I will do anything for it.
Which, yeah, somehow I'm not surprised by. After the long car ride, they finally get to their hotel, and there's this funny scene where they get the room card. Loren asks if they have one room or are we having separate rooms. And right now, they only have one room, because when Faith first booked this visit, she had assumed that their relationship would be better by now and obviously didn't anticipate the cheating. So now, when she's handed one room key, she has to, in front of Loren, ask the front desk if they have an extra room for Loren to stay in instead.
Miss, do you have a extra room available tonight?
Okay, ma'am. Let me check it first, sir.
And while they end up finding a second room for Loren, this whole scene, it just keeps showing Loren's face looking severely disappointed and sad about the whole thing. And I just can't help but feel a bit of schadenfreude. Because since the very beginning, Loren has been the one that's pushing them to be in the same room. He asked in the first episode, he said on multiple occasions that he wants to speed up the process and get to the physical part.
But after 20 days, we have to have an idea, right? Right? That's how long we have, literally. You have 20 days.
And now when they get to this hotel, he realizes that Faith had only booked one room, which doesn't mean they'd have sex, but he would obviously be very excited about that. But because of his own shitty actions, they then have to get the two rooms. So you just see the disappointments and the missed opportunity, like, oh man, like really, I could have had that. He looks so sad, and I'm like, good. Yeah, you see what you did, you asshole? You could have had the same room, but you had to go out and cheat. Like it was kind of funny to watch. And Loren tells us all about his frustrations in a one-on-one.
It is frustrating that even though I don't have a lot of money, I did pay for this trip to Leyte, and now she's booking 2 rooms.
Not sure exactly what he means by that. Maybe he means that it's his credit card that's on file and is disappointed that he now has to pay for 2 rooms instead of 1. Maybe that's what he meant, but it also kind of sounds like he could be disappointed that he's investing money into this trip and is disappointed that he's not getting to share a room or have sex or something and feels entitled about it.
And now she's booking 2 rooms, but I know she's still upset with me, and sleeping in separate rooms is how she's showing it.
I don't think Faith wanting separate rooms is trying to teach Loren a lesson. He's wording it here as if Faith is doing the equivalent of telling him to sleep on the couch, as if it's some sort of punishment for his behavior designed to teach him a lesson. But I think it's a lot more likely that she's just uncomfortable with Loren because of the cheating, and this is her boundaries, that she doesn't want to share a room with him. But if Loren really did see this as some kind of punishment towards him, that would tell us a lot about how he sees things. People are always very indirect with what they mean, like me and the cheating. Everything is ultimately about me, and might be further evidence that he doesn't seem to understand when other people have boundaries.
Oh, we have a big room.
You wouldn't even know I'm here.
Yeah, but I'm not comfortable for now.
See what I mean? Yeah, the room's so big, we could easily be in the same room and I wouldn't even bother you. It's subtle, but that's still a pushy behavior from Loren. And Loren especially doesn't like having separate rooms because it slows down the relationship process.
But at the end of the day, sleeping in separate rooms slows down the relationship process, the partner building process. And the one thing we don't have is time.
Of course, that always could have been edited in to make it seem a certain way, but otherwise, that would be such a sleazy move from Loren. You get caught cheating with an STD red-handed, your partner doesn't trust you anymore, doesn't even know if they know you anymore, and then when they naturally want separate rooms from you, for him to then twist it and say, well, she's really slowing down the relationship process, the partner building process, and we don't have a lot of time to build our partnership. That just sounds so manipulative. Because when you say the partner building process, you're making it sound very innocent. You're making it sound like this is the important thing. I'm trying to build our trust and love and you cheated, and now she's responding to your cheating by having a boundary. And it would be so wacky and backwards for him to then make it seem as if she's the one getting in the way of that process. Well, I may have cheated and broke her trust, but she's not letting us build our connection and we're running out of time. Nah, man, that's on you. Again, maybe I'm nitpicking his words here, but it just feels that way. We've seen this pattern with him. The next day, Loren heads to Faith's room to see her before the two of them go on the next leg of their journey, when Loren immediately puts his stuff down and starts making her bed in a hotel, which seems pretty unnecessary, and even Faith is wondering, why are you thoroughly making a bed right now?
What is her doing?
What do you mean, what am I doing? Making a bed.
And you remember earlier in the video when I said we'd see excessive flattery and performative chivalry to win Faith's heart back? Well,
Making a bed. You said actions speak louder than words. So, making a bed, that's a first step.
cringe. How to win back the trust of a partner you've cheated on 101. Step 1, make the bed for them. Step 2, hold open the door. Pull out the chair for them. Really demonstrate to them that you're a changed person who understands how you wronged them and are committed to becoming a better person and working on your issues. By making a bed for them. They hop in a taxi for what must be the 6th leg of this journey at this point, where the two of them are headed to a private island for some nice romantic alone time to build their connection and trust a little bit more before going and meeting Faith's family. So I guess this is why Loren only has $46 left? And it's in this taxi where we learn even more uncomfortable information about Loren. Faith asks Loren if he has a razor because she wants to freshen up a little bit and look a little more ladylike, because right now she's not taking any hormones. And then we're graced with more sexual opinions from Loren. He tells us that he can't always tell whether his trans partner is on hormones, but
I prefer my sex partners have female penises, which only can happen when you take hormones.
what do I say to this? It's interesting that he's talking so matter-of-factly, as if there's no questioning in this that there is such a thing as a female penis, and that it's obviously only a female penis if it's on hormones. Listen, we all know I like my female penises, but it's only a female penis if it's on hormones.
So if Faith's penis hasn't transitioned into a female penis, it will affect the physical aspect of the relationship.
If Faith's penis hasn't transitioned yet. So now the organ itself, that can transition. And its transition is separate from the rest of the person? Now, if he was referring to like bottom surgery where the genitalia itself actually changes, then I could see him describing that as a transition, but as it stands, that sounds needlessly gatekeepy to me. When he talked about his preferences in the beginning of wanting a trans woman that still has a penis, I assumed that he preferred a woman with feminine energy and presented feminine, but with the male body part.
I find femininity attractive, not necessarily gender, with or without a penis, preferably penis.
Which I thought was oddly specific, but okay, we'll go with that. But now, even though Faith identifies as a woman and has feminine energy, because she's not on hormones, then her penis is his penis? To begin with, I don't know why Loren has to assign some kind of gender or masculine, feminine energy to the genitalia at all. I mean, why not say that Faith is a woman with a genderless penis? But if he has to assign a gender to it for some reason, why would the genitalia's gender be different from the rest of the person's gender? If the owner of the penis is feminine, then would not the penis be feminine too? Doesn't this sound like he's drawing an arbitrary line where he can consider the rest of her a woman and what he likes? But then when it comes to the penis, then he gets all, well, the hormones and it's not girly enough. Also, I have to wonder, if she takes hormones today, then is it immediately a female penis? Does she take it today and wake up tomorrow and it's female now? Like, when does this happen? I also think this is one of those topics that is going to have a slew of different opinions. Is he gatekeeping here? Is he invalidating her gender and her transition process? Is this more evidence of him being a chaser or just doing this all for a kink? And also, why make this penis gender distinction at all? Seems a bit like splitting hairs to me when you consider the entire person. Is there a chance that this could be coming from some kind of fear of being gay thing? Where he likes penis, but he needs it to be on hormones for him to consider it to not be gay or something? The only possible explanation I can think of from his perspective that doesn't make him look like an asshole, I remember him mentioning earlier in the season that when someone takes hormones, the smell can be different. Maybe there's different pheromones associated, and maybe it's still the male genitalia, but it's the more feminine hormones that he just prefers.
The female penis normally and smells a little bit different because of usually hormones or the way that they take care of it.
But he's still saying that he wants a female penis and that Faith doesn't have that. And says this.
It will affect the physical aspect of the relationship, but if she's willing to take hormones, then we can fix that really quick.
So this is a problem? I mean, let's put ourselves in Faith's shoes. You identify as trans, it's really hard to find any romantic relationships and don't fetishize you. It's hard to be taken seriously as a genuine romantic partner. And then the guy who says he's super open-minded and loves you just for how you are, accepts you and was looking for someone just like you in fact, then goes up to tell you that, I mean, I like your genitalia, but I don't think your penis has transitioned enough for me to like it, and it's kind of getting in the way of our physical life. So you kind of have this immutable problem about yourself that it makes me uncomfortable. So if you're willing, I'd love to get you on hormones to fundamentally change who you are and your body chemistry so I can personally be more physically attracted to it. Maybe I'm out of line talking about this kind of thing because I don't have the first-hand experience, but at least in my opinion, I don't know how Loren isn't a judgmental piece of shit here. Makes me feel very gross hearing about this, but maybe I'm wrong. If you have any experience or if you have your own take, then please let me know in the comments below. I would be very interested to see the different array of thoughts here.
But I mean, out of all the things to worry about, that's not something I really care about at this moment.
Well, I guess throw away everything I just said then. Yeah, it's all fine. The two of them get back to talking about Faith's hometown and her family and her life goals. Faith mentions that she's always wanted to work hard enough and buy a good house for her family. Loren then asks Faith how much money this ideal house would cost, and for some reason, he already knows the answer to that question.
How much would the house cost that you're talking about? Like 100,000 pesos?
I think it's 100,000 pesos enough.
Because I've looked it up.
Faith is like, how did you know how much money it would cost? And Loren says, well, I've done all my research in case I move here and live with you.
Where? In Leyte or in Manila?
I don't care. Wherever you are. Would you want that? Right? Get some money, buy your family a house, live in Leyte with your family?
What are you doing here, Loren? Loren tells us in a one-on-one that he knows in American standards, he's completely broke, but believes that if he works hard enough, he can save up $2,000, buy Faith's family their dream house, and make all of Faith's dreams come true.
If I work my butt off and try really hard, I could eventually save up the $2,000+ to help Faith and her family buy a house.
The obvious question here is, how? In case you forgot, he only had $46 to his name when he came to the Philippines. He did say he had one more paycheck coming in, but I can't imagine it being that much. And from then on, he has no way of making money. He said before that he was just going to magically be a digital nomad and make above minimum wage in US dollars while living in the Philippines by answering phones. So that's obviously not going to work out. And if he's going to eventually get a job in the Philippines to pay, then what makes him think that he would earn enough for a dream house when all the native Filipino people doing the exact same job can't afford it? So I don't know what he's going off of here, how he's going to have all this money. Personally, I'm willing to just wave this off as more of Loren's delusions about finances and how easy life will be in the Philippines. But I also have to wonder, why is he saying all this right now? Is this really what you want to do? Has this been your plan all along? Or is he being emotionally manipulative and trying to mess with her feelings in order for Faith to trust him more and take him back? After the taxi, they then get on the boat to the private island, which, what is this, leg 7 of the journey? when, while they're on the boat, Loren gets really up close and personal with Faith and asks Faith if he can kiss her on the cheek.
Can I kiss you on the cheek? What? Kissing, but not on the lips, yeah? Right here, or there, on your ear, on your neck.
Which, I guess, good for him for asking for consent. But the two of them are friends right now, not boyfriend-girlfriend, so Faith is not okay with that, reminds him that they're just friends, tells him to behave, and then tells us in a one-on-one that she knows that Loren has no money. She knows that this $2,000 promise and trying to help her out with the house might not be realistic for him, and therefore wisely worries that this whole house buying business from Loren might be another example of Loren trying to weasel his way in and may just be telling Faith whatever she wants to hear.
So I worry he could just be telling me things I want to hear.
And the episode ends with Faith reminding us a very important lesson about trust in relationships.
It's very hard to be with if the person are lying. It's very hard to open my heart again.
That's all I got for today's video. Let me know what you thought about Faith and Loren in the comments down below. I heard from one of the comments on my previous videos recently that apparently Kenny from Kenny and Armando on the show have seen some of the future stuff that happens with Faith and Loren, and they claim that the drama between the two of them only get more severe as the season goes. So that is very exciting to me as a viewer. I can't wait to see what happens and make more videos on them. A big thank you to all of you channel members, with an extra special thank you to Nancy Jones for being a producer of this channel. Thank you all so much for the amazing growth in channel memberships recently. I really appreciate that and you supporting my creative journey on this channel. And if you'd like to be a member and see all these videos as soon as I post them and not have to wait until Saturday morning, then consider becoming a channel member by hitting the join button or clicking the link below. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.